Germans, how you all doing? This is Con Ulrich.
And this is Rangru. Hello, hello, hello.
We are breaking away from your regularly scheduled programming, so that way we can give you a game from the 1v1 balancing mod Tournament of Champions. We're out in Ocean North today. Rang, who do we have and what are they bringing to the fray?
On left-hand side in the blue, we have staunch Stalinist betraying the motherland, playing as the 352nd Infantry Division with a Vanguard income. Right-hand side in the red, we have UUUU, playing as 358th Infantry Division, Russian this time, also with a Vanguard income.
Are you sure that Maverick there, Rang?
No, I got it right this time.
Okay,
this is only the 7th take we had to take.
But you kind of understand here, folks. You have basically the question: who's the better Mr. 300 here? But like you guys, when Rang kind of brought this replay to my attention, I had to do a little bit of digging to find out what the heck this 1v1 balancing mod was. And Rang, it kind of feels like we're getting some really interesting changes here. So somebody brought this to you. Do you want to give me kind of a bit of a high level? What are we looking at here? What's so different about this?
I think the quickest way for me to explain this is that this is kind of like a light version of the Red Storm mod. There's a lot of balance changes, a lot in vein to Red Storm. There's quite a bit of differences, as you can see, as a 60-minute time limit, for example. But there's a bunch of other really cool things, and the main thing, compared to Red Storm, is that you don't need all the DLC to play this. It just changes around a bunch of unit statistics, so anyone can install and give it a shot. And it's a very good mod.
Well, and the cool thing about this too is that you actually look, there are added in some new units here and there. I think it's almost like one per division. So if you look, for example, at the Stabswache over here in the middle of the field, 5 MP40s, 2 light machine guns, and a couple of K98. So definitely have themselves some firepower more than anything else.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
This is pretty cool of what has been added and changed as well.
You know, and the thing that I really wanted to kind of touch even a little bit more on is now recon actually matters. Before it was, you didn't have to really bring in recon troops because your infantry could kind of double for it. But the really interesting thing about this, at least in my case, looking at the mod, airplanes, super recon, recon focused, makes perfect sense. Recon troops, perfect. But normal infantry nerfed into the ground. Now they would really only have vision from like what a tank's going to have. So it really forces you to play deliberately and actually open up that recon tab, which is something you probably have seen in both these decks here.
Yeah, it's actually quite cool. Like, a lot more units are more blind now, which also makes it a bit easier to flank around and actually harass the enemy rear line and sneak and flank, which is awesome. It allows more maneuver warfare, which is something that, as casters, we love seeing.
Exactly. We can see right now as well, we have a couple of light artillery pieces just kind of shelling each other in the middle part of the field. But early on, both guys just kind of feeling each other out, which makes perfect sense. I mean, the staunch Stalinist doesn't want to disrespect the motherland as he fights for the fatherland, and UUUU, well, we've seen this guy play before, and he's definitely given us a certain good show here and there, bringing in more and more IL-2s.
Yeah, this is quite a lot of air power early on from both sides here. I mean, we've seen the 109s and IL-2s go at it. The P-39 trying to get the 109, but just having a hard time getting behind him.
So it does seem to be the case. I mean, 352nd, we don't tend to see very often just because, this is World War II. This is not the, World War I and fighting the war that these guys' grandfathers fought and all that stuff. But in this particular mod, I think that they probably would have a lot more staying power just because so much infantry in the first place, and the recon, while it's not great, is nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah, it's actually nice with these mods because it does change things up, and like usually terrible divisions such as 352nd actually have a decent chance now, especially with the infantry being much more important. And as you're seeing in the center here, Staunch Stalin is making a pretty awesome push into the enemy farmstead area, using the 204s, recons, giving some cover and fire, but at 50mm in the forest is really going to town on that grenadier.
That's true, but those Chernos are not happy any longer.
The joys of being disheartened, an easy surrender.
It certainly does seem to be that case, and the center is ruptured right now, but, I kind of feel like you still have to watch the flanks here, too. A couple of T-70 Razvedkas down here in the south, there's definitely feels like there's a brimming kind of 358th push ready to happen.
Indeed.
I don't know if these B2s are going to be able to kind of blunt that.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have any actual recon support from him, so if he rushes into that town, I mean, it's not a whole lot of scary anti-tank, only 2 PTRS-41 anti-tank rifles, but still, you know, a side shot does have a chance of killing that tank.
Well, that's exactly true. It's very, very true. But, you know, I wish there were actually some more games out there that could give me the chance to, you know, fight in a B2. I know it's a ridiculous thing. But give me like an early war
All of
tank
France.
simulator. Exactly, exactly. And you can see right now, you know, they're taking shots here from the PTRS-41, but these guys, well, they're thick with, you know, 4 Cs right there. You're not going to penetrate that anytime soon.
Yep, and they can't even see him due to poor recon. And I do like her seeing Stabrotscher. Do you know what that means in German, by the way?
Something watcher. I couldn't tell you anything else other than that.
Maybe they're watching people getting stabbed. That's pretty violent. But they are doing like this pretty cool flanker maneuver.
Well, you know, if they die at that point, it'd be no more Mr. Knife Guy. That's true.
Yeah, he meets in the Sandman.
That's true. That's true. But yeah, so we saw the B2s over here moving forward blind. Like, this is that combined arms warfare, like you said, talking about before, that we love to see. But by the same token, we are, you know, and I had to get a little more into the weeds of the actual patch notes themselves. It feels like if you are getting hit by something, it truly does depend on whether or not you can see them to hit it back. This is not like, you know, in vanilla where it's like, oh yes, at least we know something is there.
Yeah,
you can't even shoot at it.
Yeah, like anti-tank gun shoots and your 5 tanks just open fire. Oh, we got like another rupture gonna happen in the northern center here. Staunch attacking the hill, and there's really nothing on that hill to stop him.
No, there isn't. This is actually kind of surprising. I kind of would have thought the 358th would be able to pour some more infantry over here into that northern sector, but I guess he is a little bit light on true infantry. One card is sure knows, but as we all know right there, the only disheartening that matters is the, you know, the hearts you leave behind. So.
Yeah, but it's also really crazy to see 352nd just go on such an offensive and in almost like a mechanized way, especially for these armored cars, given, you know, good fire support for the infantry. And yeah, Staunch Stalinist is going to be taking a hill easy peasy like.
He's going to be taking it easy peasy, but remember guys, the 52nd does not have a ton of infantry-based AT.
Oh.
And that's going to come back to bite him in the ass, I'm sure. I mean, you really depend on having those Panzerjägers, the P-Shreks, the Pak-36s. You're not going to be using... Oh, look, that's running Grenadier 4 with the P-Shrek.
Yeah.
Or Faust, rather, excuse me.
And also because the Stalinist has a lot of his recon and A phase. You know, he's doing some very aggressive maneuvers with you know, come B phase, C phase. If he doesn't have any recon, he's going to be in a tough situation.
He's going to be a tough situation, sure, but look down to the south. We are seeing that aggression.
An active aggression.
Very active aggression. As UUUU says, Barbarossa, who's that guy? And just kind of moves forward by himself here.
Yeah.
Leaving his center and his north to kind of like, you know, hold as best they can. And frankly, looking at all the armor power moving on in, they should be able to do so.
Yeah, we're seeing more like aerial attacks in the sky. Like, this is feeling extremely combined arms warfare so far. I mean, both sides really utilizing the entirety of their decks. Which also makes sense, because they're both playing Vanguard, so it's all by our 8th phase income.
True. True, but it's, you know, and it's one of those things that, like, the mod right here, I feel like it's one of those things that people are still trying to, you know, find their grounding with a lot of different to play. Because it looks like the beginning part here is far more positional. It's far more almost playing chess as opposed to being like, oh yes, we're playing Call of Duty, let's just run at each other and hope that we can shoot the other guy first.
Mm-hmm. And doing, like, those cheesy opener strategies, but, yeah, so far, UU... I mean, he's not doing great in the center, but this southern push is actually going pretty well for him.
It is going pretty well for him, but let's not discount the north here just yet either. The T-60s, the T-26s, the T-70s.
Oh, right.
That's a recon, which means that thing right there is actually terrifying.
Neither side has really brought up like a proper tank so far. It's just been like like he's, you know, captured French vehicles versus interwar Russian armor.
Yeah, but part of that, though, too, is that they don't really have legit tanks. The 352nd gets Stugs, and that's it. And we're only into B right about now.
Yeah.
As for the Soviets, they have T-34s, but they don't come in until B either. So, I mean, you're not going to be expected to see a whole lot of main battle tanks in the first place.
Indeed correct. But yeah, it seems like UUU is starting to at least somewhat, like, soften the blow in the center here. But still, he has quite a way to go. Oh, down south, he has finally managed to capture the tip of the hill there. You just need to get some anti-tank and some guys to clean up the forest just north of that southern hill. So, yeah, just everything's happening all over the place. It's actually hard to keep track. I mean, all the way far north, we're getting a little push here with the stern piles.
Yes, that's true. And I guess that was one of the things that I'm happy you picked up and brought to the fore here. There's action in every single direction. I kind of feel like that this is definitely going to push the micro for a lot of people to the limits, because recon matters a lot more. You have to be paying attention to every single part. You can't just tunnel vision on one direction.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
One thing I was going to make a note of with these Zachitskis down to the south making their push. Flamers do get a buff, by the way, folks. So if you want to continue to light that spark in your loved one's heart there, it is now easier than ever to do so. And actually, I think they got a range buff too. No, they didn't get a range buff. They got a damage buff, I know.
A lot more scary. I also do like how in the unit stats you actually showcase actual numbers for like the optics and stealth values.
Yes.
It's like
yes.
It's so much better than just, oh, it's very good. What does very good mean, Eugene? What does it mean? What does what does low resilience means?
It's better than, oh, I got that shit, and it's worse than, holy crap, where did he go? So, I mean,
yes.
But to the north, it's starting to go a little bit in favor of staunch Stalinist. And right now, despite the fact that UUUU is crushing the south, he doesn't have it where it counts. It's still down 15-9, so it's kind of a weird interplay where it's controlling territory, but it also still matters the quality of ground that you have.
Yeah. I think, like, just up north, like, his B2s are such an imposing presence because there's no real heavy anti-tank to deal with him. We are finally seeing a T-34 being brought in to try and rev the outpost as well as some more flamethrower troops, but I mean, Stalinist is going to continue pushing. And those B2s are scary.
Well, you know that guy. It's Moscow or bust for him. I think he's got it backwards. It's kind of like a mirror universe Stalin. But,
what's otherwise universe Stalin? He becomes a National Socialist.
Exactly. He read his marks a little bit too hard. He missed the marks, actually, is what they like to say in those historical circles. But we have, that T-34 is going to force back the B-2, and, it's true that nothing can penetrate it very easily, but the autocannon tanks can stress it out, and that, that's almost as good in this particular case, too.
Yeah, and with the infantry lacking AT, this might be enough for UU to actually flip the hill back under his control, and from there, give him a good springboard to try and retake the northern side a bit. Which he's actually starting to push in, but those stern pioneers in the far northern forest, of course, with those flamethrowers, are deadly.
Oh, absolutely. Interesting. We're finally getting 37 mils coming on in from the Russians. Germans kind of standard over here, bringing a pioneer, bringing just some more infantry here and there, and I'm seeing some hardcore. Oh nope, 82 mils. Okay. I thought we were seeing some heavier artillery than tube, but tube artillery coming in, pounding that 88. And the IG-18 is aiming at somebody. As to who that is, I don't know. Oh my gosh, and you know what? I didn't even notice until just now. Please go and hit C, and you get to see a beautiful little representation now. You don't have to start counting circles to figure out how far out you are.
They have more circles. Oh. And it's color-coded.
Oh, that actually,
wow.
That pleases me so much.
That is
soothing.
That's such a simple change that Eugene really could make, because it's... Eugene, please, like, this is so much better.
The cosmetics, I mean, that was like the unit card cosmetics, which, if the mod designer for that is out there, please update it, we love you.
That was a cool mod.
Yeah, it was great. You don't have to worry anymore about finding little teeny tiny shields and stuff like that. It was yellow, green, we're good to go. I mean, it was perfect. But, before I wax too much philosophic kind of nature down here, it is 16-8 right now. The Russians are still very much up against it. And like you said, this is a Vanguard income, so nobody gets stronger the longer this match goes.
No, not at all, not at all. So it's just things are gonna peter out, which really are all being in favor for Stalinist, because with lower incomes, it really comes down to, you know, the defender having an advantage.
You know, it's kind of a weird mind screw, and so it's going to really come out to Stalin's advantage. And I'm so used to, again, this weird kind of like, you know, Russian bizarro world here. And Stuke's now engaged in T-34 to the north, and my suspicion, yep, is we're seeing dead tanks.
Yep. Seeing, oh, an ISU 122 being brought up north as well. Definitely a very hard hitter, yeah. Definitely compensating for the more lighter tanks in his arsenal right now. Those T-26Es. Heck, even that T-60's getting in some action on that Stug, and the Stug can't fire back because, by God, he can't actually see him.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, which is
This
kind
is
of
awesome.
very strange.
They even got a gun jam, yeah, like, not bad.
But 1410, ooh, the ISU is starting to engage the Stuke to the north.
Yeah.
Who also cannot remotely see him. This is a very, very bizarre game, as it feels like it should be Stalinist getting kicked in the teeth. But again, everything that counts seems to be under control of the Stalinists.
Starting to reverse. Stalin's push is a bit stalled.
Ooh, but there is a Wolframen to the north, so keep an eye out for that Spring Hankonata. Oh no, excuse me. Or Kupfer Spring Hankonata, but that's besides the point. And otherwise, T-70 Razvedka moving into the center. Wait a second. Oh, that's right, you look at the APCR. I was thinking to myself, how the heck does he have 100 mil penetration value? But I forgot APCR on that guy.
Yeah, not bad.
You're right. I think we're going to see a reversal here within the next minute or two. As also the concrete planes are doing their work. They've been pretty active so far.
Those Lionel-2s, of course, always an extremely handy close air support aircraft, and still as survivable as ever.
Very, very true. Can we also just say unsung heroes might actually be the 50 mil mortars in general?
Oh yeah, they've been doing like some pretty solid work here. Like earlier in the match, one of them slap bang in the center was providing some good fire support against some grenadiers. Like even these 81 mils are slowly but surely going to kill our 88 mil.
Yeah, and that's one of those things too that the 88, I think actually the HE values get buffed a little bit.
Yep.
I might be incorrect on that, but 15.9, ooh, but...
Well, AP, it's value against tanks as well, I believe.
Yes, no, you're
Run shots
right.
tanks more often.
Which, you know, honestly, I kind of agree with, just because of the historical kind of pizzazz that always surrounded it.
Also a big bloody shell.
Yeah, I think I was trying to be indirect, you know, in that most suave and rather understated way that I am.
Well, the 88 is a very direct fire up in Khan.
Are you saying I have lofty ideas when I speak? Because I would have to completely disagree. I thought we were going to have the Wolframen, but nope, no Wolframen today. Instead, just more and more infantry. The Pak-36 is being rushed to the front, which I think is entirely necessary, as heavier and heavier tanks can come out for the Soviets. Not that they are, but they have the possibility, at least.
I really like what he's doing with the Wolframen. He had it locked in, ready to fire, and if he times it correctly, he could like really screw up his infantry push, but I don't think he's going to see it in time.
135 meters? Yeah, you're right. He's not going to have any line of sight on that. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so guys, if this was vanilla, if this was any kind of the mods that we've seen really so far, this would be the time you'd be able to see everything and be unloading like crazy. Ooh, but now as the engagement's going to happen, smoke, yep, okay. I see smoke, I'm firing.
Yep. They also buff smoke in the mod, so it's 100 seconds in length compared to 70 seconds. So that is a lovely bit of smoke right here, and that's just grenades. Covering the flamethrowers are getting closer. Beautiful work. But when there's smoke, yeah, there's gonna be fire.
Yes, there certainly is, and I think the dispersion rate for this might be just enough.
Yeah, it's hard to miss with 280mm rockets.
No, yowza, I even forgot how devastating that was.
Oh, yeah, that's one way to stop a push. Lots of high explosives.
And and it's not Stalinist. Even still, he's being aggressive here in the center. He's pushing back the center. I don't think these Strokies are even going to be able to get here in time.
Yeah, he's managed to rejuvenate his stalled push and bring it back to a 15-9. Which is not bad at all. He's still completely lost the southern flank, but just being able to control center and north is doing wonders for him, especially center. It's nice to actually see people push center on this map for a change.
Well, and it's not just that he's controlling center, he's controlling the territory that matters in the south as well.
Yeah, like usually to see like skirmish, like slap bang in the 50-50 line between like those two forests. Like tiny little forests with the flags on them. But here you're seeing like a complete rupture.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And there's 6 squads of Strokies being rushed to the front. Which I admire. I think that's a great idea. I don't know if it's coming in time though, because he's got about 150 seconds to live. just saying. And these Grenadiers Pioneers are going to see these trucks coming down this road eventually. Oh no, they're not. They might be able to engage somewhat here. Okay, so they can engage a little bit further. I think they get something like 200 or 250 meters. I'm maybe talking out of my ass on that one. We'll see.
I think, okay, so UUU doesn't have much time left, but he's taken the farmstead down south. He's trying to get into the village or the town in, like, the southern center. He needs to capture some flags, and he needs to do it now. I mean, he's really going all out. He's pushing all over the place, trying to just capture those flags, which is what he needs to do.
Well, he has a 12-12 because he dropped a tactical nuke over here in the center part of the field.
Yeah.
And he took a bit of the north as well. But the Wurfrahmen fired off this last 4 rockets, and as you might suspect, that's going to be very, very difficult to dissuade.
Yeah. Or he might get the town flags down south, though. He's very close. Just needs to force that Grenadier to take a hike, and that'll be 1 or 2 flags, actually. He's very close, but so far.
Well, and Grenadiers and MG42. Aggressive push over here. When I say push, I mean he's basically leading these guys to the slaughter.
Oh yeah, down south?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah. That was bad. Understandable, but not good.
Oh. Okay, he's got 1 flags in the town, and yeah, this is getting pretty tight. I mean, UUU, he's just on the tipping point to trying to stabilize this, but even then, it's going to be a very rocky road if he does try to make his way back up, because you just cannot lose any flags, especially now.
No, you cannot. I mean, it is 12-12. The stuff that matters is being held by the people who matter. But I can see this being a reverse over here. Oh no, there's a Panzerschreck actually in this forest. Oh, this could be bad.
I think the Panzerschreck, if he aims it correctly, can just shoot one of the T-26s, the rocket will go through and blow up the other one.
You know, I have seen that happen once or twice, you know, where they kind of have 5 guys line up, and it's like Indiana Jones in The Last Crusade on the top of the tank. Yeah.
That's exactly how it works.
Oh, it's exactly how it is. It's exactly how it is. I mean, geez, right, I was firing off a Colt 1911 this past weekend, and I can tell you, there's a heck of a kick on that thing, so you can only imagine the kick on the Shrek. And, you know, Shrek in 1, not quite ready to get the second one. He might get that shot up before he gets engaged.
Nice!
And 2 for 2.
I mean, not the most impressive tank to blow up, but still made his points back.
And that's the thing, isn't it? And it's all about that economic trading, which is weird. So, you know, when you were in school, you never really learned that the economic stuff was a really, really important material. And you're like, dude, I'm never going to use this in my wargaming. And turns out my teacher was right.
Yeah, well, it just turns out it's about, like, logistics and supply lines, you know. All the boring rear-end stuff ends up usually being the thing which decide wars. Who would have thought?
Well, Napoleon are here, but he made the mistake of going to Russia as well, so... But it is 13-11 over here in the meantime. We still have that P-39 who just continues to fly back and forth, desperately trying to get some kind of action. He actually might have gotten a single kill. Oh, okay, there's a pop gun down there. Big deal. And I don't know if I am the Russians here. Do you try to really, really push? Or do you just stick with the 1311 and say, okay, look, we've got enough, let's just start really, really locking these areas down?
I'd say you really have to push, because you want to try to put as much of a flag advantage over the enemy, so when they do eventually counterattack, because when you corner a dog, they're gonna bite back, you do need to have a bit of ground which you can concede, while still having that flag advantage.
Yeah, but I guess I meant more of stacking troops inside these town flags, maybe back it up with an ISU or two. If you're really, really lucky or fortunate, throwing a ZIS kind of backstopping that, as opposed to trying to move over this open ground. Like you see right now, we have two Strokies pinned down in the open, and I feel like that was just a bit of a misappropriation of funds, let's say.
Yeah, it's definitely a bad move, especially with all the support weaponry backing them up. Like, in that sort of situation, you do just want to haul into the town. Because, yeah, Grenadier men to come back in, flip that flag back over to a Trove, which just gives Stalin a nice amount of time to build up his forces. But, yeah, I mean, both sides are just going absolutely at it all over. It's probably one of the most engaging matches I've seen in a while. And I don't even really know what's fully going on, because I haven't fully played the mod yet.
Well, and that's the thing. It's ripe for opportunity. Let's just say that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not gonna lie to you, Rang. I'm always find myself frustrated. I'm sure we'll talk about it again later this week when we see a more kind of vanilla replay here. I'm always frustrated by the infantry spam because I feel like that takes all the power out of the recon, and I feel like the recon is such an overlooked part of this game.
Yeah, and this mod definitely tones down the infantry spam by just a bit. It makes it a bit more expensive, you get a little bit less, but it's still somewhat close to vanilla values. Like these Strokies, I believe, yeah, 24 points compared to 20. You know, that makes sense. And, you know, with also being a mod, you can actually change the points by 1 or 2 points instead of having to keep to that bloody ridiculous increment of 5s.
Yeah, which I guess is always one of those things of surprise that they still work from that.
Yeah.
And there we go, 1311, because those Strokies threw themselves away in that town.
He's got more coming in, but still, this is points that UUU cannot afford to bleed. And just like in Red Storm, it's like a sudden death mechanic where the longer the game goes on, the tougher the bleed gets.
Do you know when that actually is just yet? 'Cause I confess I'm a little bit unknowing of that at the moment.
I can assure you that points will bleed in the end of the day. That's my only assurance.
Well, that's a good thing. It's good. It's good for us to know. I mean, even if none of these kind of little rinky-dink digital troops are, you know, bleeding out in the Sands Force, it's good to know that points will never let us down.
You have a point.
Back up to the north, Otomachiki, aggressing over here on the Pac 36, absolutely pounding it into flat because that's what Otomachikis do. And yeah, I feel like at this point both guys are just kind of rallying for another push. We have Panzerjägers with a rather changed silhouette card.
Huh. Oh yeah, they look a bit
wonky.
I don't know if the card has always looked like that, yo. Or maybe I have no idea. It's like small, but it's also a small tank.
Yeah, but yeah. Who knows? Anyway, so Grenadiers in the meantime coming in behind the Otomachiki. Yes, Otomachiki are aggressing. Yes, they're going into the forest. No, do they have the proper support? They do not.
Nope. There's a lot of Grenadiers. A lot of Grenadiers. I mean, there's not a whole lot of anti-tank here to stop a ISU, but that one ISU can only do so much, especially with no machine gun ammunition.
However, we are going to have Grenadiers and Otomachiki literally come driving past each other. Yes, now is the time to shoot your foes as much as you can. And very, very quickly go into a firing squad situation.
Yeah. That Grenadier forcing the Avtos to jump out wasn't a bad sacrifice, because it slowed down that, you know, this push as we're going to see with the smoke onto that northern hill. Now you use now to take the long scenic route through the forest.
That's true. That's true. But I will also say that the smoke might kill you. I mean, smoking kills you in general, but you know, breathing in secondhand smoking especially delivered by mortars, it's not much better. So.
Let's say like American smoke, it's usually right phosphorus.
Yeah, old William Peter. But we are seeing slowly. Oh, Verframen firing off its rounds and putting it to the wrong zip code, which is very, very fortunate for everybody except for those three Ultima Cheeky right there.
Yeah, I mean, this is like a solid trove. I mean, both sides are really trying to make something happen, but at this point it feels like it's getting a bit stalematey. I think if UUU does push down south, or in the southern town, he can actually flip that flag to his advantage, yeah, because it's only at one grenadier. And that's exactly what's going to happen. Very slowly. He's going to get in there. There we go. Oh no.
No, it's definitely gonna be his. And even that machine gun's not gonna be able to stop them.
Yeah. Brucey up north. The flag flipped into Stalin's favor. Just because they're Panzerjägers, yeah. For now. But all the way up north, the Avtos have managed to make it through, pushing through that deadly smoke. The Pioneer only has one big arse grenade left. Really make it count.
Nope.
No. Didn't even, like, kill a single guy. That's a pretty pathetic throwaway on hands.
And with that, I feel like, for the most part, the Germans have kind of fought their way into a bag.
Mm-hmm.
Which is very, very strange, because this is one of the few... Wait a second, I just realized I was looking at the text just now. The Germans have 30, almost actually 40, almost 50 less infantry than the Russians. I did not even really acknowledge that until just now. Geez, staunch Stalinist for fighting like a Stalinist. He did not bring enough flesh to feed into that entire grindy mess.
Yeah, he didn't have the Central Asian divisions to come and reinforce him.
Exactly, but I mean, you can't trust those guys anyway. They're just, yeah.
But
IL-2s in the meantime have been very, very good. Between two of them already, geez, we have, I think, 10 kills, so paying themselves off pretty well. A couple of Strokey squad. Oh, yeah.
Wow, like, some pretty impressive stats out here. And losses, I mean, one grenadier, like, some boring-ass infantry squads got some pretty good kills. This is weird.
Well, and there's a Pak-38 who, you know, the Bushman, did very well. Picked up 4 vehicles by himself. To be fair, the heaviest of those are the T-34-76. But other than that, meh.
Yeah, but that was I wasn't actually expecting this to be this good. This was a very good replay.
Absolutely, folks. Yeah. If you haven't checked out the 1v1 just yet, definitely do so. Super unique. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, it's
super unique.
Really good balance mod. We've been meaning to actually, like, cast just before. The problem is that casting modded replays is an absolute bitch. Because if Eugene updates the game, or if the mod does get updated, it corrupts the replay file because there's a slight difference in version and he can't watch it. It's out of the current replays in the Discord, it's the only replay which wasn't corrupted. Fortunately, it was a very good replay, so yeah, that worked out for us. But that's why, especially now, you're not seeing as much modded casts from us. It's a big logistical nightmare.
It certainly is. It certainly is. I know we joke about it. We do love featuring all the community hard work out there. So, you know, again, from us to you guys, we will put all of that extra work in. We really appreciate it, and we hope that these replays do show that for you. Any other thoughts, sir?
No, just good replay and download the mod. The link will be in the description below.
Exactly. Stop stalling. Until that time, though, I'm Connorberg.
I'm Rangaroo. Take it easy.